I'm redoing Bella Goth's house in Willow Creek. Um, I at first didn't really want to do this because I didn't want to do another Gothic Victorian build because I had just done one, I think like maybe a couple of weeks ago now. It was my vampires and base game only build, and that was like a Gothic Victorian with purple accents. And when I think Bella Goth, I originally was like, I don't want to do a Victorian house with red accents, so I just kind of did something like that. But my friend, Pocket Ghost Sims, she like asked me if I would do it, and I was like, I don't know, because she was doing it, and I was like, that does sound fun to kind of like do a same sort of theme or like redo the same house as your friends. It feels kind of like a little like build collab or build challenge. And like I'm excited to see both of our takes on it and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. Make sure to check her out. I'll have her linked in the description and possibly in a comment. But yeah, so I didn't really know what I wanted to do at first for Bella Goth's house. I knew I wanted it to be like pretty fancy and use a lot of stone. And so I was looking on Pinterest. I found a picture that looked kind of churchy, and I felt like that was the one because I was like just like looking up any big mansions like built of stone or like a castle type build. And then I found I'll find it. I'm losing my voice too, so this will be a good moment to clear my throat anyway. Okay, so here's the picture. I felt like, yeah, the front was very churchy. I really liked the curved stairs that lead up into the tower entrance. It looks like a beautiful build, and I thought that it would be easier to kind of imagine the back of it and make it large enough for a family home because this needs to fit Bella, Mortimer, Cassandra, and Alex, and all of which, like, I think they all get their own floor of the house. I mean, except for Mortimer and Bella. Um, but there's just like the regular like living space as like the main floor, and then the basement's Cassandra's, and then the like first floor is Bella Mortimer's, and then the like top little tower is Alex's, because I'm pretty sure he had a tower room. And so while I was doing this and I realized I didn't have enough room for a lot of bedrooms because I was going to make a giant bathroom. So like I made a bathroom that's bigger than some of the bedrooms, but I felt like it was fitting for this house. It just, I don't know, it just needed a big bathroom, I think. And so I was like, oh yeah, like I think he'd like the little reading nook up like top in the tower. I haven't built it yet, so like the round tower, the top round tower is not even usable. I didn't even try because one, you can't even put like ladders or stairs in that sort of small tower. It doesn't work, so I didn't even attempt because every time I've like you can see videos every time, like if you go back to like I guess like maybe like 5 months ago or something, and you see a tower, you could see me struggle to figure out that you can't put any like stairs or ladders in the tower. And so every time I would do that, it would kind of like ruin the entire plan of what I had for the build. So now I just don't even do that. It's just decorative towers now. Also, I'm trying something different with the editing. I know that someone said that the fast editing gave them a headache, which is not something that I want to happen with my builds. I want people to feel comfortable when they're watching them. So I changed the speed down from 5 to 4. And then because this was pre-recorded before I was kind of like aware of that, I have a lot of camera movements that change. So I went back in and I edited some of the like more like movements that like are really fast that kind of like turn a lot down from like 4 to anywhere from like 2 to 3. I feel like I started at 3 and then I went to 2. And then by the end of the video, I started doing 2.6. And I'm sharing these numbers just in case anyone is watching who also makes speed builds and they'd like to be aware of that sort of thing too, because I didn't even think of that, because when I'm watching speed builds, I'm not really like looking at it that intently for like long periods of time. I'm usually like doing something else too. So I didn't even consider it. So now I'm going to put in like way more effort, and I like started a fall pumpkin type build that might be next week's video if I can get it out. These changes have also slowed down my editing process a little bit, so while I get used to that, I don't know if I'll have it ready by Monday, my usual posting date, but if it's like a day or two late, I'll just post it a day or two late. I forgot what I was saying. Okay, yeah, that video, I was able to be more aware of where I'm moving my camera and trying to move it less and like keeping it on one spot for a lot longer. Cause like I guess like now, if you couldn't tell before, now that I'm saying it, you could probably like see just like how much I move it. And like if I'm like at the back and then all of a sudden I'm at the front and then I'm at the back again. And like I always like move the camera with my scroll wheel a lot to kind of just like see if it looks good, like together, everything. So I'm like becoming more aware of that because I know when I first started doing YouTube, I definitely was. I was like, okay, I need to pay attention to where my camera is. And then something I guess I just ended up forgetting. I don't know, but I'm going to change that up. But anyway, this is like, what part am I up to of this video? This video is very long. It was long before I slowed it down anyway, because there's just so much that went into it. And I feel like it is a style that I'm not like 100% like comfortable just doing and like doing it quickly. I think it reminds me of my Brightchester like university housing that I did for the Better Together collab, which was like Dark Academia, which I also struggled with, and I had to redo that build like multiple times. And when I only realized that it kind of looks similar to that when I was taking the like picture for the thumbnail and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, it kind of reminds me of it. Mostly too because there's kind of like a canal in the background, and there was a canal in the background of the other one too. So I was like, wow, Willow Creek and Brightchester kind of have a lot of similarities in like just like the environment around the houses and stuff. But yeah, and I move a lot of stuff around when I'm doing this build now because I'm trying to get better at making larger builds, and having to do another family home, which is like for 4 Sims, is still a challenge for me. And so I always build very tiny houses. And so now I'm kind of learning to fix things as I go and to like actually use the main selling feature of the new like build. I say new build of the game. The game's been out for how many years now? But like the other games didn't have the ability to drag walls and stuff. And so that's like something that I never really consider even like so long after. And so I've been doing it a lot in this build. I've been moving this like sunroom back over and over again. And like you'll see, I'm like, okay, let me move it over a box. And then by like some point, I'm just like, Megan, just move it all the way to the edge of the lot. It's fine. Because then I was thinking, I'm like, it would look kind of cool if like Bella had like a cloister thing in the back with like archways, and like you could go in the middle of it and there's like a piano. And I didn't close it off completely, so I just had like brought out another little piece so that it kind of gave the illusion of like a courtyard type situation. And I really end up liking it. I also turned the like sunroom into like, I don't even know. I in my head I was like texting my friend and I was like, I think I'm giving Bella Goth a cult room. I wasn't sure because there's just like a lot of candles and like creepy statues and skeletons hidden in flowers and stuff. Like when I was building this, I wanted it to seem like it's just like this really beautiful house, but when people come over, there's like an off feeling about it, and like people are just like, yeah, I went to the God's house and it's like beautiful and like I'm jealous of it, but there was like this really strange feeling while I was inside. And that's what I really wanted to try and like achieve in this, and maybe I do. I went back in after and I added some extra little like clutter around from like the paranormal pack and stuff. And yeah, so that's what I was like, the whole goal was for me. um yeah, I add red accents to some of the house, like, the outside, I do it with a bunch of flowers, and I really like how it ends up coming out with the flowers and stuff. And, I like in the original reference picture, if you remember from so long ago, I meant to also say at that point that, it's in my description too, so if you wanna see the reference picture larger or if you want to like build the same reference picture as me, it's in my description. You could click on it and kind of like view it. So what was I saying? Okay, yeah, in the reference picture, there is like the curved stairs that lead up to the house. And I've seen people do beautiful things with that, but I'm just like, I don't know how they do it. And like I'll watch videos of them showing you exactly how they do it, but my brain just can't understand like that level of skill with the Sims tools. And I can't like apply that when I'm like in the game. So instead, I just like curved the terrain a little bit, and I did my normal stairs that I do with like the base game very low fence, and then I added rocks around it, and later I'll go and add in some um railings and stuff and like flowers to make it look a little bit more put together. But yeah, this is when I started to try and make the cloister type area, and then I end up putting a piano with a bunch of red flowers around it. I was thinking of the Sims 2 like music video channel where there's like this music video where someone's playing the piano in a field. And that's like exactly what I was thinking. And like when I was doing this, I was like, wow, I should just do like a bunch of little references to like the Sims 2 and maybe the Sims 1. And I was gonna look more into like their stories and their houses and stuff. But then I finished the build, and so I didn't do that fully. But that's okay. I used to want to like recreate Sims 2 builds in the Sims 4, but like the Sims 2 builds are so like not very detailed, and I'm not really sure. I think that maybe I would like to give it a try and not like make myself do an exact recreation of it, and more so update it to like Sims 4 and all of the new tools that we have that allow more detail. Like in the Sims 2, if they had these tools, what it would look like. I'd have to fix my Sims 2 game though. I've been saying that for months too. My Sims 2 game has been broken since May or April now, and every time I mention it, I'm so sad because I love The Sims 2, and when I was playing it in the spring, it was like a comfort game, and I was like it was like bringing me a lot of comfort, and then suddenly it broke. And I haven't gotten the energy to fix it, or like just like you know how sometimes you're just like you have a list of things that you need to do, but you can't bring yourself to start it like no matter what. That's one of those things where it's like it's something that is really important to me and something I really want to fix, but I just can't place it in my head of how to start doing it and where to start doing it, and so I haven't for months. um but yeah, back to the build. Um, I'm adding just some little roof details. I realized that I don't add a chimney to it, which is unfortunate. When I was like gonna do the intro video, I like having the chimney smoke in it, and I couldn't do that. So you get the return of me recording a voiceover and having this stop because my dogs are barking. But I waited a little bit, so I think it's okay now. I know that, like, I remember one video, my dogs kept barking, and I was like, all right, I'm going to continue. And then I'd stop again. It was just like a constant thing of just like talking, and then you hear my dogs bark, and then I stop, and then I start talking again. And it just like lasted for a very long time. But should be quiet now. Um, yeah, this video is long. We're 13 minutes in, and I'm still doing the exterior of it. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why. Why was this like such a long process? Um, it took me, I think before I sped it up, I think this build was like 5 or 6 hours, which I feel like most of my builds are about 3 hours, maybe four if they're like a little bit bigger. But I guess it makes sense because I'm normally doing pretty small builds. That's like one bedroom, possibly two. And this one, even though it is only 3 bedrooms, there's a lot of like little other spaces and like a big bathroom and like a huge sunroom and stuff. And so yeah, this is a little piano area. And I really like I realized that Cassandra, she wants to be like a musician, and so I gave her a piano in her like bedroom. But now I'm realizing that this could be her sort of little space, and I think that's really cute. And I want to make a reel where the Goth family are kind of like in the house and stuff and doing their own thing. So maybe I'll have Cassandra out there playing the piano and I'll figure out what I'll do with the other members of the family and stuff too. I've been like slacking on creating reels and shorts and stuff. I don't know. It just became like a um I don't know. Some like I think I've been like distributing where my energy's been going because I don't want to burn myself out. And so I haven't been posting pictures like all the time on Instagram. I used to post every day. I've been posting like 2 times a week. I I still haven't posted the interior or the reel of last week's video on Instagram yet or on here, because I've been kind of putting more effort into like re-editing this video down and stuff. And I don't think that like the edits and stuff is perfect with like eliminating some of the like motion sickness and stuff. I'm still working on it. It's going to be a continuing process, and if I find anything that like works and if I change sort of like the numbers of like the speeds and stuff like that, I'll eventually share it and stuff. I'll probably post about it on Instagram too, just like so people know and are aware of it. Because I understand that like if you really like watching Sims builds, and a lot of them are very fast, which I started to notice now after it was like brought to me, and I was like, yeah, that is kind of a huge problem. Because like when I'm doing speed builds, I'm always like, okay, how do I edit this down like to be as like short of a video as possible, instead of the mindset of how do I make this like the most like easy to watch as I possibly can. And so that's kind of like going to be a shift in mindset. And it's really important to me to make sure that I kind of work on this and that hopefully other people could kind of like do the same thing, because like I can't watch videos and stuff that have strobing like or like intense flickering and stuff, and it is like an isolating feeling when people don't accommodate to that, and like especially if it's like people that you care about and stuff, and you're just like, damn, I don't know how to take this. And so yeah, putting in some effort, and hopefully other people will do the same if they feel like they have the energy to be able to kind of make adjustments to stuff. I did notice that I was watching one of how do you say her name? Baylesa? Baylisa. She makes beautiful builds, and I was watching one of her speed builds, and I felt like hers were really good. And it was like she keeps the camera in one place for a long time, and I know that she does that because she like puts a lot of work and a lot of time into her builds. Like she builds a build and then she builds it again. So she'll like have all of the items that she's using like in the household inventory and then replacing them. And that's a lot of work. And I definitely respect her for that, because that is not easy. Like even just building once and editing is a lot. So like to do it twice is like really like admirable. But yeah, I kind of talked over the floor plan a little bit. Uh, I think that the like living room and kind of like formal sitting area are pretty small. Those are like areas of a house that in The Sims I don't think you really use very often. Like the TV and just like sitting by a fireplace isn't really something that um is something that I do with my Sims. And so I just kind of like figured that it's okay if they're a little bit small. I wanted to make sure that the kitchen was functional before I uploaded it to the gallery. And I think it is. I had Bella walk around all of the counters and stuff, which is usually the problem. I didn't have her actually cook anything, so there's also that. I do put warnings on my gallery uploads now that I can't promise that every little thing will be functional. I think that's okay. And I'm learning to like figure out where to kind of like place a boundary of like me not like putting in effort into things that can easily be just like fixed by someone who downloads it and can easily like move some objects around, I think that's okay. And like I'm trying to be strict on that because that's also like a big like energy component is like building the whole video, editing the whole video, and like then having to playtest all of it is a lot. So yeah, I try and I just like make sure that like it's walkable and you could get to the beds and stuff. So yeah. But yeah, this basement, it is only Cassandra. She has a big bathroom down there. I guess there's the big bathroom's the theme of this build because there's 3 pretty big bathrooms in this, which could be bigger bedrooms. I guess that's why it's also like 40 minutes long or something, or like 35 minutes long. Yeah. Um, and then what am I up to? Oh yeah, I decided to make like this is sort of like an outside area thing. So I put a little table here and I put like a statue and some flowers and stuff. And I thought it would just be like a nice little place to have like coffee in the morning with like a little book or something. And like you could look out the archway into like the garden or like the front garden. And yeah, so that's like I guess the first entrance, and then there's a second entrance. It was because the like floor plan ended up being like very, very strange, and I didn't really know what to do with it. And I was like, I can't make this all a hallway, and I didn't want it to be like too tiny of a space and also not too big of a space. Like I wanted to break up this like that whole area where there's a hallway, the other living room, and then this like little sitting area, because I didn't know how I would lay out the living room in like such an odd shape. So I made them just a little bit smaller and stuff. So this is the room where I feel like they don't even use it. It's just there as like decoration, maybe like a flex where it's like guests come over and they walk into this like pretty little like stone tower where Bella just has her coffee in the morning and then they walk in to just this like really really fancy sitting area with like this beautiful fireplace, and then you like finally get into like the hallway where there's like even more beautiful areas, but those ones are actually like used by the family. um, yeah, I'm not forcing myself to clutter a lot with some of these videos. It's just not going to be possible as of right now. I definitely admire people who have just like the most beautiful selection of clutter and stuff. And I know that people will like take the clutter out before like recording them putting them places. I might try that out and like see if that works for me. But normally I'm like when I'm cluttering, um, I would like have to put one piece down and then I have to like think of what else would go in that one specific area. Um, so I'd like to try and become the person that can pick out a bunch of clutter, put it on the floor, and then like line it up. Or I guess I could clutter the room and then remove it and then put it all back for things like that. I think that could be a good idea and like kind of what I was talking about before. But yeah, this is the main living room. There is a pipe organ in it and only one little couch. So there's not really a space where the full family can sit together unless they sit on the floor, which I guess wouldn't really matter that much. I think that like it's normal for kids to just want to sit on the floor. So maybe Alex just sits on the floor and like Cassandra's on the like pipe organ and stuff. So I guess there is enough space. The family isn't huge. Like I don't know why I'm making it seem like this is such a huge family house. This is a lot of space for 4 people, I think. Like if the bathrooms weren't as large as they were, it would like probably be able to be a like maybe a 5-bedroom house, possibly more. Next week's video is also like surprisingly, it's 4 bedrooms. And that was like my goal was I was like, yeah, I want like 3 to 4 bedrooms. I'm gonna try. And I made the house. I'm like, this house is really small. It's not gonna be that big. And then it was. I was surprised because the exterior looked tiny. And I think it's because now I'm kind of understanding how to build a shell where it's like enough space and like a good shape that you're able to like have a section of the house have bedrooms and stuff. And so I surprised myself. Um, yeah, I'm using the vampires book as sort of like a cookbook again. And I did that because I was thinking about The Sims 1. So that's my other very tiny, like old game reference is the little cookbook that sits on the countertop in The Sims 1. And then I have just the piano from The Sims 2, like music video. So yeah, I managed to get two references in because I couldn't think of anything else just like in my head. I would have had to like look into things. And I was building this on a VC. And so I didn't really want to stop the flow. Like I was in a flow where I was just building and I was having like fun doing it. I only stopped building when I realized that I might be like trying to rush the decorations, which is like normally what happens with my interiors if I do them all at one shot. I end up rushing them. Like, I used to always talk about how I'm like, yeah, I put so much effort into this living room, and you can see the effort. And it's like, but just wait until I get to the bedroom. There's going to be nothing in there except for like a bed. And so now I'm like taking little breaks and coming back to a build with like fresh eyes to start on other rooms and kind of give the same amount of effort instead of just like all in one shot. And then I'm just like I'm burnt out because interiors do burn me out very easily. And especially if I don't really know what to do with some of the rooms, like this sunroom, I had no idea. And because I had the dining room and I was like, this is such a weird shape. And it was like screaming wedding venue to me. And I was like, but there's not a wedding venue. I was trying to put a bar in here, but I couldn't really find one that fit. So I just put a little bench and I ended up putting some urns in front of the bench and stuff. And yeah, so maybe this was just like a mysterious room. Like that's the goth house mystery of what is this room even for? I don't know. There's like two mirrors set up. I don't know. I think mirrors are creepy. And I think I was just like I was like, I want something scary. And so I pulled out mirrors and skeletons, which to me are very terrifying. If I walked into this room and I had seen just like these two stand-up mirrors there that are like really beautiful and like antique mirrors, I would be like a little bit scared and I'd be like, wow, like your house is really pretty. Like, can I see the garden again so that I could like get out of that room? um, but yeah, then like later on when I was decorating, I was realizing that Bella seems like the type who would like really like antique shopping and like decorating her house with like any random little antique finds that like she finds when she's like going to little markets or something, or like people will like gift her things because they know that she likes that. And so like I ended up putting a bunch of like a lot of like gold accented clutter pieces. I used some stuff from which one is it? Vintage Glamour, which is a pack that I really haven't used since it came out. Like when I was going back into Clutter, I started to filter by packs I don't normally filter by because my go-to filters are like paranormal stuff, werewolves, realm of magic are the three that I always go to in order to like finish cluttering. I also did cut out some of that cluttering because I go back and forth to the rooms too often for me to feel like it was worth leaving in. And so I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna cut it. It was only a few items anyway. If you want to see the full house and like every little bit of detail and each item that is in it, then you can download it on my gallery. My gallery is TheCrackedKyber because CrackedKyber is taken. So yeah, you can find it there. It does use a lot of packs. I uploaded it right before I was starting this voiceover, and it doesn't use a lot of kits. I've been like, I don't know why. I was just like trying to avoid kits as much as possible. I did use some from the everyday clutter kit. I think maybe I used it in, oh wait, no, it's not the everyday clutter kit, it was the book nook kit. I used some of those items for Alex's room because he really likes to read, so I was like going in to just put as many little books as I can. And at first I felt kind of bad because it made it like the house, um Bella gets like this like really big bathroom and like this whole upstairs to herself. And then her kids are kind of like in an attic and in a basement. And I was like, but Bella like really like loves her kids. I don't think that like I was like um it seemed like I was like forcing them away from the rest of the family. But then I was like really thinking, I'm like, it seems like Cassandra would really like her own little space in the basement, and she would be like not really bothered, and it was just like a nice place for her. She has everything she would want down there, and like, yeah, I think she would just like her like isolation. And then, Alex likes to read, so I feel like he would just really like that little space up there. And I was just like continuing on from like how I've seen his bedrooms in the past where they're like in a little tower. Yeah. So I think that the family is completely happy with like all of the space. It's not that they're like trying to avoid their kids by building a beautiful bathroom and then like being like, yeah, Cassandra, we took your bedroom and you could go live in the scary basement because it's a nice basement. um, Also, for some reason, this I wanted a hallway leading into another hallway that then leads to like Bella's room. I don't know why. I felt like I was just like really stuck on that idea. I was like, yeah, there's gonna be two hallways. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but also if I want to make a build that's like really pretty but like kind of strange and makes people like question what is going on, I think a hallway leading to another hallway is kind of like perfect for that. It also seems a little scary if you're like walking through it at night and you're like, okay, gotta get to bed. And then you're like walking up the stairs and then you're like, okay, time to turn the corner into this dark hallway that I don't know why I agreed to these like building plans for it. Yeah, I'd be very scared. I'm very scared at night, so maybe that's just me. But yeah, this is the huge bathroom. I never make big bathrooms, so I was really like wanting to for this one. And I love the floors, like that wooden floor kind of used as a tile. Um, yeah, I is that from Realm of Magic, I think? It looks really pretty. I like the like accents on it. It like works really well with like the gold accents and stuff that I have around. I also was able to use different plants than I normally do because I wanted it to feel a little bit like not modern, but just like in this time period. And so, like, I was using a lot of plants I don't normally use just because I feel like they look a little bit too, like, current. And a lot of my builds, I want to feel, like, old and run down and, like, they've been just, like, abandoned or, like, lost from society for a very long time. And this isn't one of them. It's literally right next to a bunch of houses, like, in a neighborhood. Um, but yeah, this is Bella's room. I'm completely like disregarding Mortimer. He was not really a thought. I was just like, yeah, this is Bella's space and he just lives here. Um so yeah, I like I think like I didn't know what to do with her bedroom to be completely honest. I was like trying to find a layout that worked and I had so many sitting areas. I was like I need to do another sitting area, but there's so many. Like there's one in Cassandra's room now too. There's like the one in the coffee space, then there's the formal sitting room, and then there's the living room, and then there's like the sunroom. There's just so many places to sit. But I did like I don't know. I don't know what to do with empty spaces like this. I was thinking about like creating an art space, but I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do that. I don't think there's enough activities in this build. Is what I realized when I was like um trying to see what I would want them each to do when I make a reel. And I was like, well, yeah, I don't think there's enough activities in this build except for like some pianos and some bookcases. Um, so I want to like, I don't know. I guess like I want to in future builds make more activity rooms. Like I could have made a study in this at least with like a chess table. I think a chess table would have been good in this build. Yeah, I could have done a chess table somewhere, but these are things I wasn't really thinking at the time. I was trying to make it look as like fancy as possible. That I kind of lost some of the activity items and stuff. But I really like Alex's room. I think it came out really nicely. I wanted to create like some sort of privacy and like almost like a wall using furniture, but I didn't want to close off the stairs from the room because then I thought it would be a little bit too like claustrophobic. And so I just like I was like, all right, let's put the biggest pieces of furniture you can so it like feels like a closed off room because you go right up the stairs and there's his bedroom. But again, his bedroom is separated by his parents' bedroom by 2 hallways, so it's really not that important. But yeah, the video's almost coming to an end, I think. I don't think that it's much longer. Um, but yeah, so here's where I'm just like grabbing more clutter items and I'm like going through the packs and I'm seeing what I want to add in to each room now just to like make it look a little bit more complete. I'm really happy with adding those curtains over there. It just like it gave it like a warmer feeling in this room for me. I don't know how 2 curtains can do that. There's no windows down here, but it just like felt like that was like a nice little addition to a room. See, I was trying to put another couch in this build and I deleted it. I could have put the chess table down there in the basement. There's nothing in that hallway, and the hallway's like big enough to be its own little room, I think. Um, yeah, so I made like I put a bar cart type thing in like the counter. I thought it looked cute. I don't know if that makes the counter unusable. It might. I'm not sure. But yeah, this is like all like where I think like her antiques would be and stuff, and so I was placing those things around. But yeah, that's the whole video. You can find me on Instagram and stuff. So yeah, thank you. Bye.